So you've only got 4 days to get maybe 5 days worth of work done. It's the Memorial Day holiday that falls on a Monday. So what do? How do you play catch up at work? We're going to bring him back, and we're glad to have him with us once again. His name is George Nagle. He's a workplace consultant, and he is joining us right now to talk about that very subject. Hi, George. Welcome back to KDKA. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Rick. Thank you so much for having me back on. It's always good to be speaking to the hometown of Pittsburgh.
Well, absolutely. Hey, we're talking about breakthrough thinking, rather, in your book series, and this particular one that you're talking to us about. That you're giving us an idea when you've got so much stuff going on. You're trying to work 5 days into just 4 days at the office. How do you decide what are the things that have to be done as opposed to the things you feel like, well, at some point I got to do these things? Which is busy work? Which is important work? How do you decide that?
So it's quite simple. It's the things that have to happen so that you can be relaxed on the holiday. And if you ask yourself that question, what will allow me to be relaxed? That almost instantaneously sets the prioritization for you. And if it doesn't, there's an even easier thing to do. You go to your boss and say, hey, I got these 100 things going on. We only got 4 days. You tell me what you feel is most important, and then they set the prioritization, and it's off of your shoulders, or you have a discussion about it, I should say.
Interesting. Well, the brand new book that he's got is the 5-letter F word, and he's talking about this as part of his Breakthrough Thinking series, and that word is focus. Does that help you to do that? And it almost sounds to me, George, like you have to have part of that conversation before the holiday, right? Maybe last Thursday or Friday, be thinking about those things rather than on Tuesday when you get back, or Wednesday even.
It should, but not everybody does that. But when you come back, the things that are really stressing you out or that you kept thinking about while you were on the long weekend, that's such a prioritization almost instantaneously for you, right? Like, it's been there and it's kind of nagging you a little bit. That's how you go back. You hit those things first, you hit them hard, and you just get them done.
So is there a way to sort of create a distraction-free environment, meaning that when you get back, a lot of other people want to talk about, hey, what was the holiday like? What did you do? And you find yourself being pulled into a bunch of different conversations that don't really help you get anything done. How can you create a, if not distraction-free, fewer distraction environment?
So there's a couple of different things that you can do. One, if you're back in the office, and let's work on that assumption, because if you're at home, you're not having those people come up to you.
Yeah.
Is book out a conference room and just go to the conference room. People see that you're busy and they're assuming that you're in a meeting, and they'll do that. The second thing that you can do, if your culture is more accepting of it, I think it's funny, is you get a little thing, and you tape it to the back of your chair, maybe put on some headphones if you're allowed to do that. And on the back of your chair, it says, unless I'm on fire or you have an immediate question that literally nobody else can answer, I'm in the midst of something and I'm working to a deadline.
Yeah.
When you tell people you're working to a deadline, they tend to leave you alone and appreciate and respect your time.
Interesting. Is it fair to say that sometimes if there are things on that list that you have to get done that you don't want to do, that you'll find other things to do first? Is that fair?
It is fair for people that are not happy with what they're doing. So if you have a bunch of things that you really don't want to do, you'll find ways to do that. It's a way we relieve stress from ourselves. And it's also a mechanism to kind of dissuade the expectations if other tasks like that get assigned to you later. It's a way to lower those expectations that you're going to do a really good job on it. Hopefully cultures are starting to really pay attention to the fact that if people are working on things that they're actually interested in and they almost volunteer for, their engagement level is much higher and their productivity is higher and they get things done incredibly fast.
George Nagle is an MBA. He's also an author. His latest book is called The 5-Letter F Word, where he's talking about focus, and he's talking about using the power of 3 or sometimes a power of 5. How would you describe that to somebody if you're on an elevator right now and you're going from the first floor to the 7th floor? What is the power of 3 or the power of 5?
So the power of 3 says until you pick 3 things that you're going to work on, and you're not going to work on anything else. You write them down, and until you've accomplished everything that you can within a given day, for the first thing, you're not allowed to work on the second thing. And it just trickles down. If circumstances come up, little things, you have one or two extra things. Those are the 4 and 5. They can't be longer than 1/3 of the time for any of the other 3 things if they're going to be on your list.
Interesting. So if you put it on a list, make it a priority to get it done and make sure that you get it done before you move on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, we take it even one step further. We actually post that list on our bathroom mirror, and you have to say it every single morning before you walk out the door. That way it's hitting you every single day.
Wow. Hey, I hear that you're going to be back in Pittsburgh. Can you stop in and see us when you're in town?
I'd absolutely love to. Yeah, we're going to be in on the 25th doing a Emporium at Duquesne University. So I'd love to stop and see KDKA and just talk with you guys.
That'd be awesome. George, we look forward to having you here. Travel safely, and we'll see you later on in the month of June, all right?
Sounds great.
Good
Thanks,
stuff.
Rick.
You've got George Nagle joining us. Again, the brand new book that he has is called The 5-Letter F Word. It's part of his Breakthrough Thinking series, and his name is George Nagle. If you're looking it up and want to buy the book, Nagle, George Nagle, the author and workplace innovation consultant who's talking to us about how to get things done and using the power of 3 or the power of 5 and putting things in order and in place.
If you're like most Americans, you're pretty much in disbelief with what's going on in the world. As we all know, global problems are having local consequences, too many of them. And if the peanut butter really hits the fan, are you ready? Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Now's the time to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. Our food kits will ship quickly and discreetly to your door. Having food storage in your home beats government food lines hands down. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today and prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.